Hi, this is Amy with Living My Beloved Life, and this is what I wore for the beginning of March 2016. And as always, I will do this by what I wore every day and try and tell you about how long I wore everything. So I had some spotting in the evening when I first started, so I put on this Amila Star Wars pad. This is an Athene, I think. Yep. There you can see, it's an Athene. It is super thin, but it holds up really well. So I put this on for overnight, and everything was fine. The next day, I put in my Schoon cup. This is the small with the stem removed, obviously. And I wore this with my Echo Alternatives thong liner here. Does this just seem blurry? Is that better? Slightly. Anyway, okay, so I had my Echo Alternatives thong on here, and I wore this for about 7 hours and before I emptied it, and it was quite full. So I actually took the thong liner off and I put on my Homestead Emporium thong liner. This is a tiny little 6-inch, and I really enjoy it. I put my Schoon cup back in and I wore it for about another 6 hours or so or maybe 5 hours until I got home, and it was probably about 2/3 full at that point. Once I was home for the evening, I then put on this Happy Flute. This is the bamboo charcoal, and I like this pad. It's hard for you to see that way. There. But it is actually like graduated a little bit, where this end is a little bit wider than the other end, and I like that about it. So it's I can make it a little bit wider in the back. And it's got the minky backing here, and it's considered, I guess, large. Yeah, so the next day I was home. It was Saturday. I was home from work all day. So I just wore pads all day. And actually, I hadn't even bled overnight. So I wore that Happy Flute overnight. And then I wore it for probably about the first hour in the morning. And then my flow came back for the day. So then I put on this Environmental. I think this is considered a heavy. It's a pretty thick pad. And this is a micro fleece topper. I really love it. It's super soft, and it's got a PUL inside. I think this is a 10-inch. I really like this pad a lot. I got it in a D-stash. If you haven't done D-stashes before, I highly recommend them. So I wore the Environmental for about 4 hours. I then put on this 9-inch Dinky Dot Spots. This is an OBV, super soft. I love this pad, but it is always a dickens to get clean. And it's got a fleece back. I wore it for about 3 hours. Then I put on my Empire Lush 10-inch. This is bone, cotton top, fleece back. I wore it for probably a total of about 4 hours or so. And during that time, I actually went to the movies. So I put in my Sea Sponge tampon, and it worked great. So I was really happy with that. And I actually had no leaking with this the whole time I had it in. So I'm happy. Although I already feel like it's starting to come apart a little bit. Like, you can see that. Like, I'm nervous pulling it out like that I'm going to leave something inside, you know. So anyway, I wore the Sea Sponge tampon for about 3 hours, and then I wore this for about a total of 4 hours together. Then I was home for the night, and I put on my 11-inch Yurtcraft cotton top, this little bunny rabbit. Oh, turn him the right way. I just think this is so cute. Again, I got this from a D-stash from a YouTuber. Fleece back. It's a thicker pad, but I really like it. The next day, I put on my Moon cloth. You can see sort of that it says Moon cloth in stitching here. Again, I really like this pad too. I think they're like a UK brand, and I've tried to find them since I purchased. I actually got this from a pad box from Feminine Wear. Feminine Wear UK, I think, is the website. I'll post it down below. And so this is a minky top, and so it was like a surprise pad. I didn't know what it was going to be. And a fleece back. And I thought this tag was really super cool, and it tells you like what all the features of the pad are, but I've only worn it maybe 3-4 times, and it's already worn off quite a bit. But I do really like this pad. It is soft and squishy and thick and lovely to wear. I wore this like 6 or 7 hours already day 3 my flow was quite a bit lighter. So then I just put on my little, I think this is a 9-inch Homestead Emporium. I just love the colors on this. It's so floppy. Like, everybody has raved about Homestead Emporium, and I'm so happy I got this. I want more. And it's got a fleece back, and this thing holds up really well too. I'm very happy with it. I wore this actually then overnight as well, and the next day I was back to work, so I put in my Maluna small cup, soft. This is super soft, and yeah, this was actually, I think, my very first cup, maybe. And then I put on WE Essentials Long Liner, Butterflies Flannel, just 2 layers of flannel, love it. And then for home, I forgot to say, I wore this for about 12 hours, and literally I hadn't even filled up all the rings, all the up to the grip rings there. It was practically empty with, a little bit. So my flow was very light this month for sure. I put on my little 6-inch Novel Red liner here, just cotton top, just for a little protection, but I didn't really need it. And that was the end of my cycle, so it was really short and light overall this month. So I wore 2 cups, let's see, I think I wore 3 thongs, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pads. Oh, 9 pads if you count that one. So that is everything I wore this month. And I just want to say this is going to be my last what I wore, because I haven't been getting any new pads or cups or anything. I feel pretty happy with what I have. And so I just don't see a point of continuing the sort of what I wore, because it's been pretty consistent lately. If I do get anything new, I'll of course share that. And I'll be working on doing more of my reviews, because I have a whole bunch of things that I should have reviewed a long time ago. But after 2 years now, I can give a really full review of most of my products. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more of my reviews. And if you have any suggestions, please let me know. I really appreciate that. Take care and be well.